Welcome to the Charleston CFO Council. This organization was co-founded in 2015 by Robert Bendetti and Mark Carmichael in order to provide a networking and educational forum for senior financial executives to share best practices, to discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their job.
Dan, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Robert. Doing pretty well. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm excited to have you join me for this is really the first ever real live Meet the Member. So thank you very much. I practiced on my wife. So you're number one. So congratulations.
Awesome. Love being a guinea pig.
Well, Dan Poirier, you're the CFO of ProTech USA, a chemical distributor. And the interesting fact I found out about you, I cheated. This is easy because you're in Boy Scouts. You're a very active volunteer in many things, but you're an active Boy Scout adult leader. I think it's with Troop 725 and Knightsville. And you recently took some Wood Badge leadership training that my wife also took. Is that true?
That is correct. I'm also involved in Troop 701 and Cub Pack 725. So
wow.
Doing a lot with the Scouts. And the Wood Badge training was a lot of fun. Now I've just got to work on the ticket.
Well, congratulations. Question number one is, what is your favorite professional or business book and why?
I'm going to go back a long way. It's a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins. I read that book back in early 2000s. I think he published it around 2001. And I love the focus on leadership. Just get the right people on board and then figure out what your company does best and then focus on that. I think he did a really great job of putting all that together. And it was one of the first books that I actually wrote in the book and took notes. I'm not big on writing in books, but that was something that I thought I got a lot out of it. So it was well worth it.
Great book. What's the best advice you've ever received professionally?
This was actually a discussion that I had with an old boss of mine. His name is John Adams. We were at the Colorado Convention Center, and we were building a team to take over management of that facility from the local government. And he and I used to sit and talk. And one of the subjects that we talked about was how the leader of an organization is the one who really drives what happens in that organization. And if that person has very strong beliefs in, you're going to edit this, right? If that person has strong beliefs and really focuses on what they want to accomplish in the business, and they're able to communicate that to people and make sure that they're focused and they've got the tools that they need, then you can pretty much do anything. And I took that conversation to really build upon what I want out of the people who work for me over the years. It's the leader who makes the difference. Everything comes from the top and filters its way down to the bottom. And if they're focused on what they want the organization to accomplish, then they can make sure that happens as well.
That's powerful. Yeah, absolutely. You can tell that that's true because we've all worked for somebody who isn't that, or maybe in a season of our life we haven't been that, and it really does make a big difference.
It does. It makes a huge difference.
What's something that you've recently started doing or a tool you've recently started using that has been really beneficial?
About 2 years ago, I made a decision to take the CPA exam. I had never been that route and did it. Took me about 12 months to get it done. Took all 4 parts and passed them, which was great. For me, that was a real challenge, especially being out of school for 20 plus years. I did do it through Becker, and
Yep.
a lot that's happened in the last 20 years. And just being able to take each of the different parts and apply those to the business. We're dealing with a bunch of CFOs here, so most of you guys will know what's in that exam or what was in the exam, at least over the years. And it really has made me much better at doing my current job.
That's awesome. That's so fantastic. I was a non-traditional guy who got the CPA later too. Does Peter Olento still teach the Becker classes? Is he one of the instructors? Oh.
He does most of the classes. There are a couple of people who do them, and I don't remember the other. There were like 2 or 3 people, but he's the one who does most of the work on that.
There's some videos on YouTube that are little clips of the funny things that he does, and I'll tear up watching them just thinking about going through that process. So that's awesome, Dan. Congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment.
The pain of the process makes you tear up.
Yeah.
But it was a huge accomplishment. Now I've just got to figure out how to get the experience, because being a CFO without reporting to a CPA is a challenge, and the state doesn't accept that. But it doesn't matter. Just doing the exam was a huge help for me.
Yeah. Well, you can get a licensed or registered in another state. If you like the state of Illinois, you could be licensed under a different set of requirements there. So you can't put a shingle out in the state of South Carolina and act like you're a licensed CPA in South Carolina, because you're not. But you could register or get licensed in a state that has a different set of experience requirements, hours requirements, supervision requirements, and no residency requirements.
That's interesting. I'll have to take a look at that. The biggest challenge.
Call me offline and I'll tell you everything you need to know.
Okay. The biggest challenge with the experience is just that it was so long ago that I worked for CPA.
Right. What is the best part of your current job?
I'm going to answer that in 2 ways. One, personally, just working from home. This whole COVID-19 thing has been minimally impactful on my personal work. And just it's been invaluable over the last 8.5 years for me to be able to be here at home for my son. I'm a single dad. And working from home, when anything comes up at the school or anything else that's going on, or during summer vacation, I can be here. I don't have to worry about childcare. And that's huge. Professionally, it's kind of cool. As a chemical distributor and a small company, we don't actually have a regulatory department. So when things come up that need to be handled, as with most CFOs, the hard things land on my desk. One of those is a current effort that we're dealing with the EPA on some testing of one of our products that we import. It's a pesticide that we import. And I'm just having to drive that process and make sure that we're getting that testing done. I'm also working with our regulatory people in Australia and dealing with imports into Australia. So it's kind of neat doing that and working outside of that finance realm, solving problems that we wouldn't normally get to see that I wouldn't normally see in a larger business, because you've got someone who's an actual regulatory professional.
Cool. Well, the rest of us are trying to get used to this remote working. So you're old hat. This is nothing for you. What is something that I didn't mention about you that you'd like to share?
This is going to be personal. I am an avid scuba diver. I've been diving for 20 years. Went all the way up through Dive Master and have been doing that for a number of years as well. I work with Charleston Scuba, going offshore, helping people out, working with new divers, getting them underwater, and more importantly, bringing them back up. And in the last couple of years, my girlfriend and I have been getting very seriously into what's called technical diving. It involves going really deep for longer periods of time, which that involves staged resurfacing so that you can decompress and get the gas out of your system and all that. Going into caves. Love going into the caves down in Central Florida. Lots of fun going in there. And the cool thing about doing the technical diving is that you got to get the training, and you really have to focus on what you're doing and making sure that you follow the steps that are involved in coming back to the surface alive. And because mistakes 1,500 feet into a cave underwater can be deadly unless you've got the training and you're following that training. Then you can mitigate those mistakes, because there are ways to mitigate things that happen underwater. Really love doing that.
Wow, that's super interesting. I had no idea. I'm glad I asked that question. Last one. What question didn't I ask that I should have, and what's your answer to that question?
I'm gonna read the question because I did actually write it down for myself. How important is it for professionals to be involved in their community, and what have you done to contribute outside of your work? Great
That's
question.
good.
We've already kind of touched on that, Scouts. I think it's really important that we as professionals are involved in our communities. We have a lot to offer. We're the kind of people who get things done and make sure that things are operating smoothly for our organizations. There's no reason why we can't do that for volunteer organizations as well. The work with Scouts has been really fun. I get just as much out of it as the kids do. As you do that, you're with Scouts as well. And when you're helping a kid get through something that they don't understand, it could be something as simple as tying a knot. Teaching an 11-year-old how to tie a bowline is challenging at best. But also being around other adults who are going through the same thing that I'm going through raising a child, I get to learn a lot as well. But I think as a professional, giving back to the community, I work with our homeowners association, evil HOA. Been involved in that for the last 7 years. And then prior to moving here to South Carolina, I was involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters in Southern Nevada as a board member and treasurer and all that stuff. So I just think it's really important for our members to make sure that we're involved in the community, especially in today's environment.
Yeah. Good advice, Dan. Wow, this has been fantastic. You've set the bar super high. I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your schedule to talk to me and share a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate the effort too.